we'll go ahead and get started. I know that there are a number of people who had commitments, as I said before, until say 5:30, but I'm sure that we'll have a larger group as the time goes on. So welcome to the 2021 EcoExchangeEdu Sustainability Showcase. So glad that you could all be here. We have a number of events, and I'll talk about some of those momentarily. First, my name's Kevin Salfin, and I'm Associate Professor of Music at the University of the Incarnate Word. I'm also the co-director of the Office of Sustainability there and the chair of our Sustainability Advisory Board. Some of you are involved with that, so thank you for doing that. We've already had an excellent presentation this morning from Dr. George Venny. He was talking about karst and aquifers, and that was a session that was hosted by St. Mary's University. It was absolutely informative and rich and nuanced and interesting, and it was recorded as well. So for those of you who maybe saw that it was listed and couldn't attend and had another commitment, it will be available at a certain point. Also, I wanted to let some of you know, or let all of you know, I guess, that we have other events coming up in our showcase. For example, tonight at 7:30, we have a Sustainability and the Arts video presentation. So it's not very long, it's only about 25 minutes, but that's at 7:30 tonight, and you're welcome to drop by. The link is available on the EcoExchangeEdu page, hosted by SAC. Then tomorrow we have incredible events, and I'm so excited about some of these, and I so hope that some of you will be able to join us. Some of you are hosting those events, so I hope you'll be there. But for the rest of you, I certainly hope you'll attend. At 12 o'clock, we have the premiere of a set of videos. They're public service announcements and many documentaries about all sorts of different angles and ideas in sustainability, all connected somehow to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So that's at 12 o'clock. The video presentation runs about 45 minutes, so that's about how long that will be. Then at 3:30 in the afternoon, we're very fortunate to have Danielle Bellany with us. She's a San Antonio wildlife biologist, and she's the co-founder of Black Birders Week, and she's going to be giving a talk called The Nature Near Us, and that's at 3:30 again. We're so excited that our second keynote can be Danielle Bellany tomorrow. At 5 o'clock tomorrow, we have a stories and crafts session tied to sustainability. That's a family-friendly event. So if you have kids, or if you know kids, or if you can recruit kids, you can bring them along and have a great time getting ready for Earth Day. Then at 6 o'clock tomorrow is the premiere of our premier showcase event, featuring video submissions. These are longer documentaries from members of all of our university communities. There are staff presentations and faculty ones, but there is a special concentration on student presentations. So you'll get to see what students are doing at all of our area higher ed institutions. And that concludes with an awards ceremony. So if you can make the time, please come out to some of our events. Today's session, however, this session that we're in right now, takes us all the way back to the founding of EcoExchangeEdu many years ago now, almost a decade. We're getting pretty close. In our first session, which was held at the International Conference Center at UIW, representatives from a number of area institutions of higher ed gathered simply to share what was going on in sustainability at their various campuses. It was such a rewarding experience that here we are, approaching a decade later, still sharing. The idea that keeps us coming back, I think, is that sustainability is really a collection of issues that's so significant and so challenging that we have to band together to share perspectives about what works, what doesn't, to encourage each other, to inspire each other. So it's in that spirit that we're gathering this afternoon with representatives from all sorts of area universities. We have representatives from San Antonio College, from Palo Alto College, from St. Mary's University, from Trinity, from UIW, my own home institution, and from the University of Texas at San Antonio. So all of these folks have gathered together to do just what we talked about. So I look forward to the presentations and to the many conversations that I know can stem from our time together today. During the session, each group will be made co-host. I think I've pretty much taken care of that. If I haven't, I'll try to make sure that I get to you before your presentation window. Each presentation will be about 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, something like that. And then we'll move on to the next one. If there's a little time for Q&A, then we can do that. But really, I think the best thing would be to go through these presentations, and at the end, if there's some conversation, then that would be great. However, I'd like to encourage all of you, and this is just by way of best practice and keeping things running smoothly. I'm going to drop this in the chat session. Okay, so if you'd like to ask a question, you can type Q into the chat box. Either you can write your question out in full, or you can just leave a Q there and we'll know that you have a question for the group or for a particular presenter. There's another option, C, and either you can type C and type a comment, or you can type C and just speak it. And then there's another one, FYI, and then you can add your text. And this is just offering some information or commentary, but it doesn't need to be addressed necessarily by one of the presenters. So there are some ideas for keeping this session running smoothly. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our first presenter, Dayanara Rios from San Antonio College. So I think you're made co-host, and you can take it away, Dai. So we look forward to the presentations. Thank you again for being here.
Hi, and thank you, Kevin. So let me share my screen. And okay, everyone can see my PowerPoint. I'm so excited to be here with y'all tonight. My name is Dayanara Rios. I'm the Community Relations Coordinator and Center Manager for William R. Sinkin EcoCentro, Center for Community and Environmental Sustainability at San Antonio College. The center's mission is to promote the practice of sustainability and provide resources, expertise, and connections to make that happen here at SAC, the Alamo Colleges, the greater San Antonio area, and beyond. So first, just a little overview about the Alamo Colleges District. With almost 100,000 students, it is the largest provider of higher education in South Texas. 12,000 of those students are actually early college students from area high schools. There are 5 main campuses, including San Antonio College, and multiple satellite programs in Bexar County and even in Kerrville. There are more than 300 degrees and certificates offered, with more being added. All of this is to say that we have a large district and an incredibly diverse group of people that we serve. The approach is to have centralized sustainability policies and procedures at the district level that provide guidances to all campuses around construction, operations, landscaping, purchasing, natural resource conservation, and innovative education. And quite frequently, there is a common misconception that sustainability ends up getting pigeonholed into just a few of its pieces, like it just being about planting trees or recycling. But sustainability goals require holistic management in multiple aspects of our operations. At Alamo Colleges, we have the unique opportunity to become leaders in sustainability and lead by example, including our target to become carbon neutral by 2050. Other goals listed here include energy and water conservation, assessing our air quality, our procurement, and building LEED certified buildings. Transportation creates both challenges and opportunities to tackling our carbon offset. Here are a few of our existing transportation efforts, such as the electric vehicle charging stations, free bus passes for students, faculty, and staff with ID, bike share, and van pool opportunities. Looking to the future, we have ways to strengthen existing measures, such as incentivizing the use of carpool, van pool, public transportation, and electric vehicles, and other ways to increase efforts across the board, especially in meeting our carbon offset goals. You're going to hear from representatives from one of our sister colleges, Palo Alto College, and kind of to touch on what Kevin said earlier, that sustainability is not a competition between colleges and universities, but requires a group effort. And our friends at PAC are doing great work that also contributes to this. And a lot of that work is grassroots efforts from faculty, staff, and students who really care about sustainability. SAC has had many elements of sustainability in the strategic plan, and now we're getting to become much more aggressive in implementing those elements. So one of them is converting 75% of our campus landscape to water-saving landscape, wildlife habitat, and food production. This benefits the natural ecosystem, and it creates opportunities for students, faculty, and staff to participate in experiential learning. We've installed low-impact design and stormwater features and have more planned. Not only do we conserve water this way, this also naturally filters the water, recharges the aquifer, and creates flood mitigation. That means that these spaces are both beautiful and functional. When our center is open, it is open to everyone. From preschool programs to K-12 school garden initiatives to higher education and professional development opportunities, our center has a diverse audience serving San Antonio and beyond. The center itself is a green building demonstration center that is LEED certified. Visual examples of our green building include the rainwater harvesting tank, solar panels, and our gardens. We are home to the International Institute for Sustainable Water Resources. We operate the Garcia Street Urban Farm on the east side of San Antonio, and I'll share a little bit more about those in a bit. And we are also developing sustainability certificate and degree programs. We also have student internships, which at the moment are mostly work study students who get real world experience, and service learning and volunteer opportunities. Within the broad scope of sustainability and our audience, and viewing those holistically, EcoCentro has 3 areas of focus: water resources, urban agriculture, and green building. I work with a small but mighty team who all have experience in one or more of these focus areas. And these are the groups that we work with and for to advance those sustainability initiatives: our sustainable students, sustainable campus, sustainable neighborhoods, and cultivating a sustainable community. I mentioned landscaping and stormwater before, but here are a few other campus initiatives. They include a green office program, greening the curriculum for college students, and campus collaboration. The International Institute for Sustainable Water Resources supports research, technical assistance, and facilitation of environmentally sustainable water use, especially for freshwater and bodies of water like lakes. Another example of how we work with students, faculty, and staff from not just SAC, but other schools and even in other countries. We broke ground on Garcia Street Urban Farm in 2019, one of the only housing authority, community, and higher education-led urban farming and food production initiatives in the nation. EcoCentro at SAC manages the urban farm, creating opportunities for community involvement and volunteerism, providing education, resources, and fresh produce. The farm will support healthy initiatives, community gardens, and urban agricultural research. This is not just a farm, but also a space for education and cultivating community. Unique features of Garcia Street Farm and development include collaboration with local distribution networks and community markets to create and strengthen farm to market, table, and neighborhood pathways, a growing space allocated for young and up-and-coming urban farmers, urban pollinator meadow and wildlife habitat, just like we're implementing on the SAC campus, and research plots in partnership with local universities and colleges. EcoCentro 2.0 is a project for architecture students at SAC. Our director met with these architecture students and they treated her like a client to design a building based on her specifications and the desired messaging and use for the building. There was an old abandoned apartment complex that was quite literally falling apart next to the EcoCentro parking lot. It has since been demolished, with material being recycled back into the community where it was possible. And our SAC students got to be creative in envisioning what this space could become. And now I will show you a video of their work.
I don't know that we're getting the audio, Di.
Okay, thank you for letting me know.
A group project was done by myself.
Can you hear now?
Kira Burkhart. Hi, I'm Jonathan
Yes,
Gargata, and I'll be sharing 4
Okay, great.
projects from my design studio at San Antonio College. This first project, being a group project, was done by myself, Kira Burkhart, and Yuri Monreal. We were each assigned an element at the beginning of this project: earth, wind, fire, and water. Through sustainable practices, we incorporated each of these elements: fire with solar arrays and thinking about natural light, water with water catchments and thinking more critically about where runoffs would end. And with earth, especially in this project, we had a green highway, and this took the earth from the park and spanned it across, spearing through the building. And with wind, we think about the orientation of the building a little more critically and allowed for summer breezes to really cool down the building and make a difference. The next 3 projects were individually done by us. Left to right starts with Yuri, mine, then Kiera. We had an amazing opportunity to design the new Eco Expansion building that will be a communal, multi-use laboratory and / community center. All 3 projects address sustainable design practices like rammed earth floors and the things we talked about with the elements. We got to do a site visit speaking with Meredith Miller in the spring, beginning of the spring semester. And she was very passionate about showing us what happens at EcoCentro, like the gardens and sustainable practices that they already do there. And she expressed her hopes with the new building and what's to come with it. We all in our own way try to speak to her needs and what she asked and expressed during that presentation. Yuri's project created a space for the community enjoying the green roofscape to its fullest ability throughout the entire design. Next, mine focused on the relationships to the garden and bringing that greenscape into the front door of the building, really inviting this garden inside, vice versa. And lastly, Kiera's project had a connection to the market garden from a slope integrating into the garden around these organic shapes and celebrates the use of rammed earth with green roofs. Thank you.
We absolutely love the students and their creativity. We are working with professional architects as well for this expansion project, and we're hoping to bring back the students as paid advisors when we actually get to the full design and build of EcoCentro 2.0, again, to provide a real-world experience for those students.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Grant.
Yeah.
Hi.
And that's what I have. We are cultivating community here at EcoCentro. And for me, sustainability is not just a career or industry or a job. For me, it's a lifestyle, not just in protecting our planet and our natural resources, but also in cultivating community and building connections and networks. So the best ways to follow what we're doing at EcoCentro and San Antonio College are to visit our website, listed on this slide, and our Facebook page, and I'll also put those in the chat. Thank you again.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Di, and everyone at San Antonio College and EcoCentro particularly for that great presentation. So we'll turn it over now, just because we want to keep on time. We'll turn it over now to Palo Alto College, and we have Linda Plebach and Elizabeth Montgomery presenting for Palo Alto. So I'm not sure who's screen sharing, but I think you're both made co-hosts.
Oh, great. Okay. Hi, I'm going to start out. I'm going to introduce myself, and then Elizabeth, and then we'll screen share. I'm Linda Plebach. I am a librarian at Palo Alto College, a faculty librarian, and also I am the chair of the Viva Verde committee. So been involved in sustainability at the college, but again, it's always on my mind. I formerly was at Northeast Lakeview College, and I'm glad you gave a shout out to their program tomorrow, and worked with the Viva Verde or the green team there. Actually, we were a green team, and I'm very excited to be here in planning an Earth Day event, because that's what I did over there too. But Earth Day every day, just like you'll see tomorrow. Thank you for the shout out to the children's program too. Enough. So onto our program. So Elizabeth, introduce yourself, and then I'll share the screen.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Montgomery. I teach geology, so I have earth science and oceanography, and sustainability is a big part of my courses, especially preparing for future economies and preparing for career pathways. So I've incorporated it as a huge component of my course.
All right. So I am so glad, and thank you, Di, so much for sharing all about Alamo colleges and the things that we do together. We're united by sustainability. I like to think it that way. So yeah, so here's some of the initiatives at Palo Alto College. Just the overview that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Share Center and the pop-up markets that we've been doing all through the entire Alamo colleges. Also our community garden, which we're very, very proud of and won an award. And then the American Recycles Day fashion show that we've done. We're actually going to do our 11th next year. It was 10th this year. And our Mocktail Mixer. So first, Elizabeth is going to talk about the Share Center.
So the Share Center, it has a lot of advocacy services, and why I'm so passionate about sharing these with each of my students is several years ago, I had a student, the student started off really well in the semester, and then suddenly there was mood changes, and I didn't really know what was going on. Well, it turned out that student was now living in their car and now homeless, and they qualified for an emergency grant. And I'm happy to say that student, based on that emergency grant, was able to successfully complete the semester and graduate with her associates. And most of the time when I have students, I don't get to see them again in the future, but I happen to run into her the very next semester, and she looked very happy. And so every time, I have an opportunity, I try to share some of the services, because you never know what challenges your students are coming with when they're trying to enter your course, or what kind of challenges they're facing. In fact, during the winter storm, I was sharing a lot of information about some emergency information about warming centers. And one of my students emailed me and said, "Thank you for sharing this information. You just never know what's going on." So with the Share Center, they offer grab and go lunches. They have a food pantry, also applications for public assistance. They have shelter, which is emergency rent and utility assistance. And that need has only increased during COVID. They also have a professional clothes closet, so our students can attend an interview with a suit. And so that's really important, looking their best for an interview. Also mental health counseling and access and equity services and expanded services. In fact, the Share Center, they say even if it's not part of their services, still refer them students to the Share Center, because they have a whole list of advocacy services that they can refer to if it isn't covered by their services.
So I would like to brag about just slightly our Palo Alto Community Garden. It just opened a few years ago, but it was a long time in the making. It took many grants and many hours to make it a reality. It's truly sustainable in that, of course, we have a horticulture program, so we've already had a garden, but this is actually more for the community. The community can actually have a plot that they can actually tend to. We also have compost bins, as you can see behind the sign there. They're even looking at maybe starting a vineyard program, and we've talked about that at Palo Alto College. The grants came from both big and small, and this last year was very exciting. It won the ASHE Sustainability Award. This is from our open house, but the ASHE is the I can't remember what the initials stand for, but it was a very prestigious award. It's a academic sustainability award from all over the United States, actually internationally. And so we were able to accept that award this year. And it's not for just having the garden, but it's also for what we're doing with it. We were able to pivot during COVID. And at first we've been having farmers markets at Palo Alto, which is, again, very important for the community to get fresh produce. And we had the food bank come and give out food at the farmers markets, but you could also purchase food and crafts and things at the farmers market. Well, after COVID hit, we gave away some of the fresh produce. We gave 10,000 pounds plus of fresh produce. that was donated to the San Antonio Food Bank, and that initiative still continues. And this was just on opening day. You know, it's much more lush gardens now. So yeah, so all of the Alamo colleges are participating in these pop-up markets with the San Antonio Food Bank. It's a partnership, and it's a way to provide healthy food, not only for our students and employees, but also for the surrounding community. The next initiative I wanted to talk about is our American Recyclers Day fashion show. And we were very excited to do our 10th annual one this year. We had great attendance for a Zoom event. We had 107 people come to the event live, and we had even more that registered and got the link to the video. 10 models participated. These are students, and as you can see, our primo, this is pre-COVID, of course, but what they received to participate as a model is they received a gift card from Goodwill Industries. So they went and met with the fashion designer from Goodwill and picked out clothing and remodeled. So it's been modeled for the fashion show. It's very exciting, of course, because it's not fast fashion, it's reusable fashion. And the cool thing that I was very excited about, that 85% of the people surveyed stated that this was extremely relevant for sustainability. We had many, many comments about the things that they learned that they never had thought about before. So we really are excited to have this event, and it's very much a collaborative effort. The 16 student PSAs were from geology, and you'll be seeing geology students, you'll be seeing similar PSAs tomorrow at the other event. We also had partnerships with Goodwill and CPS Energy. They did excellent programs as part of this event, and the communities and schools, which helped get our models. Also our PAC Care Center, as Liz told about already, and the cosmetology department were also partners. So it's really a great event, and we hope it continues for many, many years to come. And now our Mocktail Mixer.
Yes, so this year we were able to do the Mocktail Mixer, and this of course was with the EcoExchangeEdu. And as part of the Mocktail Mixer, we were doing a countdown to today's event and tomorrow, and 30 students attended, and we had 3 different breakout rooms, one that was focused on the countdown, another one that was focused on the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and how we could apply that. And so there was just different opportunities. And the reason why I find the Mocktail Mixer such a good event to share with students is because networking is so important for career preparedness. And having that opportunity to speak with other students that are in like-minded fields in other universities and colleges across San Antonio is such a good opportunity to network and meet and mingle for these type of events. And if you want to flip to the next slide, Linda. And this was in partnership with the EEE, the EcoExchangeEdu, the Alamo colleges, including Palo Alto College, East Lakeview, and EcoCentro, which is through San Antonio College, UTSA, St. Mary's, and Trinity. And I think actually UIW is missing as well. UIW should also be on that list. But yes, it was all of the area, San Antonio area colleges. So I feel like this opportunity is so important because preparing our students for future economies and, looking at the #1 growing job in Texas over the next 10 years is a sustainable job. And so we need to prepare our students for sustainability because it's going to be an integral part of many different fields.
Thank you very much. And does anybody have any brief questions, or we can take questions at the end too? All right, well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Linda and Elizabeth, for that presentation about Palo Alto. So many things have always been going on at Palo Alto. It's quite amazing. But thank you for that sort of bird's eye view. So the next presentation that we have is from Karina Nanez from St. Mary's University. So I think I've made Karina the co-host if you need to screen share. And yep, we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I actually don't have anything to screen share, so we won't have to deal with any technical issues in that area on my part. I will introduce myself first. So my name is Karina Nanez. I am a senior communications major with a minor in geology. And really, I just took that because I love rocks and I feel like they're a passion of mine, not really because I thought of pursuing them like in a career type of sense. I have been part of St. Mary's Eco Club for the 4 years that I have been at this school, and I have worked closely with professors Dr. Turner and Dr. Mitchell as far as trying to push sustainability here on campus. And our other environmental science professor, Dr. Carlin, also works closely with Eco Club as advisor. And so all three of those professors really play a big role here at St. Mary's as far as sustainability goes. I know on campus existing, we do have, it's like a water treatment / recycling plant that's here on campus. And so you can kind of constantly hear the waterfall going. We have recycling bins posted everywhere, and Eco Club has constantly put out information about what's recyclable versus what's not, how to treat your Starbucks cup from the campus Starbucks that we have. And within the environmental science department, also students are really pushed to pursue research that not only they're personally tied to, but could also be applied to St. Mary's. For example, I'm also part of the honors program. And so as my honors thesis, I did research on how students at St. Mary's perceive environmental issues, sustainability, and how they want to make those changes in their life and what exactly gets in the way of that. And I know there's another student, Tanya Helbig, who did research on whether or not St. Mary's students would be willing to have a type of green fund. And so that research goes hand in hand together to show that students at St. Mary's really do care about environmental issues, and they want the school to take initiative to put more practices in place to kind of keep that going. As far as Eco Club goes, we've done so many events on campus, and the club is really education focused and based. And we've gone to eco exchanges before, and we've done different like local events to talk about carbon footprints, sustainability. My junior year at St. Mary's, Eco Club put on a spring thrifting event. And so we collected clothing donations from the students and then had our own, essentially like a thrift store open up on campus in one of the dorms. And so students could go and look at clothing, and it was everything from shoes to pants to shorts to shirts. I mean, everything. And at the thrifting event, we were also talking about fast fashion and how that is detrimental to the environment, and how websites like Shein may be really cool and really trendy, but that clothing doesn't last, and it just contributes to the pollution that we put out there. And all of that is stuff that we do so that we can teach St. Mary students about how to live a sustainable lifestyle, just like I believe it was Dinara that said in the beginning of the Eco Exchange, like this is so much more than just a job. This is so much more than just a hobby, if you will. It's more than just an area of study. And St. Mary's also has a rainwater collection system in place too in Garney, which is our science building. And I know when the students had that push for it, it was research that was done by students and pushed forward by administration so that we could get that going. And this week, actually, St. Mary's has their research symposium going on, and I get to present my honors thesis. And with Tanya Helbig, I'm also going to be, it's called the Blue and Gold Go Green. And I'm sure Diane would be able to hop in. She's one of our librarians. She's super cool. But so this event is going to be Blue and Gold, Go Green, St. Mary's and Sustainability, the student perspective. And so Dr. Turner, Tanya Helbig, and myself will be able to speak on behalf of students to school administration and have a student-led discussion about how we see sustainability in our lives and how we want to see that reflected on the campus. Back when we also had Oyster Bay Eco Club was a really big proponent of recycling at Oyster Bay, because yes, it brings in a lot of scholarship money, but also having thousands of people on campus does create a significant amount of waste. And so what Eco Club specifically did was we pushed to have I believe it was Cash for Cans is what we called it. And so we gave every single attendant at Oyster Bake a personal bag so they could collect their metals and their plastics to give to us for more coupons. And I think we completely filled our recycling compactor within the first few hours of Oyster Bake. And I don't think that had ever happened before in Oyster Bake history. And we were so proud to have done that because, I mean, sustainability can be fun and it can be cool. And even people who are, for lack of better phrasing, really drunk at Oyster Bake can still care about recycling and having these things go forward. So I know I've kind of been all over the place, but St. Mary's does have a lot of these student-led initiatives. And even with our community garden that we have out at our Center for Justice just down the road, Eco Club has also been a big portion of that as far as getting volunteers to go out there and do the maintenance and do the cleanup and check in on the plants. And that's also been something I've been really proud to be a part of. Diane, I don't know if you want to jump in with anything that I missed. I also will be more than happy to put my contact information in the chat box if you have any questions, or if perhaps I want to reach out to you on how St. Mary's can continue to go down the sustainability path.
I think you did a great job, Karina. I might just add that Eco Club has also been involved with the Basura Bash in the past, which is the river and creeks cleanup. So, of course, that didn't happen this year, but in the past they've been involved. I think you covered it really well. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know if anyone has any questions for me or anything maybe specifically that you would like me to cover. I would love to talk about my honors thesis, but I don't think I have enough time.
And I'll go ahead and put these codes in the chat box again, just to remind people, if you have a question, feel free to either type Q or you can just type the question. If you have a comment, you can put C or you can type out the comment and FYI as well. One of the things that I would love to hear from Karina is, what do you think that the biggest challenges are when you're trying to sort of gather student energy to do some of these initiatives?
Unique to the pandemic, I think student attendance is probably the biggest thing. Everyone has experienced such massive burnout with quote unquote Zoom University and having to do everything online, having it being so distant. Even with the minimal return that we've had back to campus, it's really difficult to have that one-on-one connection with students and to be out there and to see how they feel and see what they think. Eco Club has really witnessed quite the decline in active membership, which is really sad and unfortunate. So I would have to say that that's our biggest issue. Beforehand, it was, I think, a general unawareness on campus. Students, at least here at St. Mary's, would see the recycling bins and they would see that these things are made available, but it was, I don't know if this can be recycled. I don't know how to recycle it. It seems like it's too much energy, and do I have to sort it beforehand? And it was just general ignorance and things like that. So education was a big part of that, of getting students more interested in having that personal connection with recycling and sustainability, and realizing that it really wasn't as hard as maybe they thought it was, or it wasn't as scary to start making these personal changes.
Thank you so much for that response. I'm sure that that's clearly very resonant, and there are several people who made comments about that already. So let's all please thank Karina Nanez from St. Mary's for her presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're all too kind.
And we'll turn it over now to our representatives from Trinity University. There are a bumper crop of them. So we have Carlota de Bellis, Natalia Gonzalez, Christina Ridlin, Janavi Nikum, and Kira Lowell. So here we go. Trinity, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Very exciting stuff. Let me go ahead and share the thing. We're going to present this as a team. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn the floor over to Carlotta. When you're ready, Carlotta.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to introduce to you Ecohabits and all the great work that they have done this past year. Next slide, please. So how did it all start? Well, in spring of 2020, one of the requirements for one of my majors was to do a communication capstone. I decided to do a professional capstone that had as its client the sustainability committee. The problem that we were trying to solve was the overconsumption of plastic on our campus throughout an integrative marketing and communication plan. As we all know, spring of 2020 did not go as planned. And so all the concrete and more tangible aspects, and I would say more fun, of the capstone were stalled. And I was left with a bunch of research that definitely did me well. But fortunately, there was a lot of groundwork that was laid out. So towards the end of the semester, I started contacting interesting students who were lower classmen, and the lovely group of people that will present after me are those who have really taken Ecohabits to the next level and created so much change on our campus. Next slide, please.
So as Carlota said, Ecohabits started as a grassroots coalition of students from her project idea here at Trinity University, dedicated to creating a greener and more sustainable campus. And while we were founded from specifically one project focused on reducing single-use plastics, we are also branching out into other areas and hope to install a more broad, lifelong sense of environmental consciousness in our community. So we organize different projects on campus that promote reusing, reduction of waste, and just helping make more sustainable options accessible.
One of these projects is the Ecohabits Cutlery project, and this is a partnership with the Trinity University Dining Services. And the goal of this project is to sell reusable cutlery made out of bamboo in all the pod locations. And pod locations are basically just provisions on demand pod. And that just means like little nooks and areas on campus that sell food, where usually there is single-use cutlery, but instead it's reusable cutlery that's being sold. One concept in partnership with this reusable cutlery is to buy two and donate / get one free. This is currently being advertised during Earth Week, and the goal is to increase sales. So it's like a double-edged sword, increase sales, but also get more people to have access to reusable cutlery, not only for themselves, but to people who may need reusable cutlery. So the donating part is in collaboration with Mutual Aid at Trinity, and Mutual Aid is basically a cohort of students that are giving back to the community, specifically giving food and buying food and supplies, but we're partnering with them to buy two, donate / get one free, and we'll donate it to Mutual Aid. So they can give cutlery along with the food products that are bought. So this was a core component of the capstone that Carlota had, but it was pivoted with the dining services as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide, please. And our other project with cutlery is a collaboration with the Trinity University Engineering Science Department. And the goal of this is to make reusable cutlery from plastic waste generated on Trinity's campus. So this is still pending. We have presented a proposal to the senior research design students, and we're waiting to hear back. But essentially, we presented about a week and a half ago, to have basically plastic material in surplus that is created at Trinity to be molded. And there's this like machine, it's really cool. It's in the makerspace, which is a cool space that we have. Carlota can kind of talk more about it if she wants. But it's the makerspace, and we have this machine, and it can basically mold and form different objects, including cutlery. And so this is the project we presented to the engineering students, and we're waiting to hear back more on this.
Okay, so thank you, Genevieve. Another one of our projects is called Nourish. So when COVID hit, this wasn't a project that we were initially thinking of taking on, but we realized that COVID hit a lot of families financially, and we thought that maybe some of our fellow peers were struggling with getting food. And so we decided to try to do a physical food pantry on campus. Of course, because of COVID complications and all that jazz, we couldn't make a physical one on campus, but we did team up with the chaplain at the university and the dean of our university to make a sort of a virtual food pantry. So the virtual food pantry is called Nourish. It was initially funded by the Reverend Judd Student Emergency Fund, but now it's set up so that alumni and friends of the university can donate to it directly if they wish. And in order to apply to Nourish, you just have to fill out a Google form, and then your application is reviewed by a committee. And if you're approved, you receive an H-E-B gift card that you can use to get some groceries, or you might receive a direct deposit, for example, if H-E-B is not, you don't have an H-E-B where you live. This is sort of an attempt to try to meet the sustainability goal to prevent people from experiencing hunger, especially now when a lot of people are struggling financially. The other thing that we implemented in sort of the Nourish category of our initiative is the Care and Share Meal Swipe. So Trinity has a variety of meal plans available to its students, and depending on which one you pick, it is possible for you to run out of swipes. Swipe is like what you use to get into the mess hall. So it's possible for you to not be able to enter the mess hall before the end of the semester. And so this program is sort of a partnership with Ermark, the food provider at our campus, where every student can donate one of their swipes, so that if somebody, for example, runs out at the end, they can request to use one of the donated ones to check into the mess hall. Yeah.
Okay, so the final project that we've been working on this year, in light of the COVID pandemic, is our Rewear Closet. It's a clothing exchange initiative. Basically, the purpose of this project is to tackle fast fashion demand in a fun and creative way. It sounds kind of like what Karina was talking about, what they did at St. Mary's. So essentially, it's like a thrift store, but it's free. So you can, students, faculty, and staff can donate clothing, and if they want to, they can take something with them as well. We're also really grateful to the Student Government Association on campus and the Dean of Students for allowing us a space on campus so that we can make it a fun little area. Also, it helps us, I don't know, just be able to run the clothing closet on campus. So on the next slide, we'll see that the next slide, yeah, thank you. This closet addresses the UN Sustainable Development Goals number 12 of responsible consumption and production. It also serves as a way to provide new clothing to students who cannot afford them otherwise. In addition to that, we are planning on a, once COVID makes things easier, we have been partnering with the Career Services Center on campus so that we can create a business clothes lending system. So it would be free, but it would help students in need, and people could donate their business wear clothes, and it would be available to students that don't otherwise have access to it. So yeah, that is it.
And moving forward, we want to add another project onto our arsenal of projects. This one is going to be Plant-Based Plate, where we're trying to get more plant-based meals on campus. So dining services is actually really hip to the idea, and they want to include more plant-based foods during this week. And also, there's talk that green cuisine will be in Revolve before the end of the semester. Revolve is like where we invite food providers from the San Antonio area to come to the university and sell us their food on campus. So it's really nice that we'll be able to have a vegan option on campus more regularly now. Yeah, those are our projects. Sorry, I went a little bit over time, but thank you for having us and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. all of the presenters from Trinity for a wonderful presentation. So many different ideas, so many interesting initiatives, as always, from Trinity. So I want to go ahead in the interest of time and turn this over to the group from UIW, from my home institution. And we have Aime Galindo, who represents the Student Government Association, and Jorge Quintero, who represents the Cardinals Cupboard, our food pantry on campus, and Cindy Passmont, who represents our student sustainability organization, Sustain. So I've suggested that each of them can have about 3 minutes to talk about their specific initiative. We might have done an overview, and sometimes in the past we've offered that, UIW has offered that, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to sort of get into the weeds a little bit and have the students present initiatives that were really special to them. So we'll start with Aime from Student Government.
Hello. Let me just share my screen really quick so I can share with you my presentation. So I'm Aime Galindo, and today I'll be talking about the Golden Harvest. I'm the current president for the Student Government Association, and my term is about to end, so I'm really happy to be here today with all of you. So we wanted to talk about Golden Harvest, and it's an annual competition that we have every fall at UIW, and we use this as a competition between the different schools. And so basically we set bins around campus, and everyone gets to donate all kinds of items that the food pantry is looking for. And so in previous years, we used to have our donations to other food pantries because we didn't have our own on campus. And so luckily we now have our Cardinal Cupboard on campus. And so all the donations have been going to them. And so we've been encouraging students to donate canned goods, hygiene products. And so we kind of have a point system where we keep track of all of the donations. And of course, we have the help of the Cardinal Cupboard and the Etling Center for all of this. In previous years, we've had like thousands of pounds of food and donations. And so this year, it was a little bit different just because there wasn't really students on campus. And so we had to kind of change our entire strategy and not make it a competition between the schools and make it a competition between the residence halls because that was mainly the only students that were on campus. And so even though it was a much smaller turnout, we had the support of many alumni, faculty, and staff as well. And we decided to have many events on campus just to encourage students to donate. So we would do like, if you bring in 3 canned goods, you can get a prize that we would have. Like we did like hot chocolate, we did cookies, a bunch of things like that. And so it's really a great time for all of us to kind of get together and think about all the students on campus. And we also use this time to promote the Cardinal Cupboard because it's really fortunate for us to have our own food pantry on campus. And it's really great because they always have it stocked. And so we're really thankful for us to be able to help them out and try to have more donations possible each time. And so I think I'm going to let Jorge continue if you would like to share anything else to that.
Thank you, Amy. How's everyone doing? My name is Jorge Luis Quintero, and I'm a graduate student here at University in Incarnate Word, and I work for the Etling Center of Civic Leadership and Sustainability. So my duty here is to supervise what's going on here at the Cardinal Cupboard, well, the food pantry. So the food pantry started back in 2018, and it was literally basically like a food truck, a trailer, and all we had was canned goods. We didn't have any fruits, no bread, so it was just canned goods. And it was really hot in there. If you were in there, it was like you were taking a sauna, you were sweating, you were getting a workout, and But eventually we upgraded. So in 2019, we opened up the Cardinal Cupboard, and we were seeing big numbers within just from September to pre-COVID in March. We fed over 500 families. So you gotta that's a lot of families. So I mean, we were doing very good, and then COVID happened, so we were kind of shut down for a bit. But through that time, we were improvising. How can we help people? Because our mission is to leave no family behind starving. And how do we get there? Well, 1, social media, marketing, and 2, we need partners. So through our great alumni, we have Gardopia Gardens, who help us out a lot. They give us fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. And not only that, but we also give them compost, which is if we have bad bread, bad vegetables, we give it to them and they turn it into treasure. So it's like a cycle of life. With dead crops, we're building new life. Now we've fed over 800 families. We've had over 275 volunteers volunteer at the Cardinal Cupboard. And the beauty of that is because UIW is so diverse, it's pretty cool to see that when people are engaged from different cultures, different countries. So that's pretty neat to see. And through that, the Cardinal Cupboard has been growing. I mean, we've had over 13,000 food donated, and we've donated 8,888.36 pounds of food to the city of San Antonio, to the locals. And I mean, I'm truly honored to work here. And we also partnered with the San Antonio Food Bank recently in September of 2020. I'm getting my years confused. I apologize, but yeah. So I mean, we've definitely partnered up also with St. Vincent de Paul. St. Vincent de Paul helps us out a lot. They give us breads from Central Market, H-E-B, and Walmart. And if that bread goes bad, we also have our own gardens. We just had a spice garden literally outside of the food pantry. And we have another big garden behind Clement Hall. But I can let Cindy take over on that and she can go over the logistics. But that is all, folks. Thank you.
Hi there. Let me try sharing my screen. Oh dear, wrong one. Oh. So I represent the group UIW Sustain, and these are our community gardens where we're growing herbs, fruits, and vegetables. Right now in this garden over here in the smaller one, we're growing. We just planted potatoes, and we also planted some herbs of basil. And then in our bigger garden, between I believe it's in the Gorman, next to the Gorman building. We're doing where we have banana trees and tomatoes and lemons and berries growing there, and then we're doing for our past and present events we had a solar house cookies, and then we also did Christmas flowers, which you can see in the top right over here. And then for the solar house cookies, we went to the solar house that we have here at UIW Sustain, and we did a fundraiser for selling the solar house cookies. And then for this year, we're doing a basil plant challenge where you can see at the bottom right here, and then our professor Ben Mealy putting the instructions around the vase. And we also do events where we also do events where we do the movie nights where they show what's it called? Sorry. It's for sustain. It helps you. Oh dear. It helps promote sustainability in our university. And then also, I think it was Jorge who mentioned the Pollinator Partnership project, where we're submitting a video of how our garden works, and it helps, and it'll create a pollinating system to help other wildflowers grow and help our garden. And then we also started a bokashi bin, and recently the compost queens came. The compost queens are here in San Antonio, and they came last week, and they gave not many people showed up, but they gave us a starter kit, which you can see here, where it's very simple. It's just a bucket, and then they gave you a supplement where you put your food waste, and it can be dairy products and food, and it's as long as it's airtight, it's very easy. You just sprinkle the bokashi here, And then we're also doing a remodeling project on our garden where we're going to make new flower beds. We already inserted new flower beds here. Our last one we're so old that like our professor, he said when he tried moving one, it like disintegrated. And then over here you can see our tomato plants where it's different species. And then in between here in the little areas right here, we're growing a watermelon, sunflowers, and then also our own personal basil. And then that's our projects going on. And then also for Bokashi, we're planning on working with Residence Life. We want to try working with Residence Life to have all their food waste go into our Bokashi bin, so we can try compost there, and that's what we've been working on.
And just to add, so ChangeX, I highly recommend you guys all look into it. They always have, what's the word I'm looking for, grants available. And recently we just received a grant for $1,800, and it was a ChangeX pollinating plants. And with that, that's gonna help grow our gardens. And it also educates you on what type of plants you need to, so they can offspring and whatnot and bring more bees, more love. It's good stuff. So check out ChangeX and check out Gardopia Gardens. It's a local garden in east of San Antonio. You can get a lot of goods for them. And then also, if you have bad food, they can turn into treasure. So we never let anything go to waste.
All right. Thank all of you for presenting today. Thank you. So our last presenter of the evening is Lonnie May from the University of Texas at San Antonio. So I think I've screen shared, and yes, okay. So you can take it away, Lonnie. I see Lonnie's mic, but can anyone hear her?
Thank you. Let's see how. So no one can hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Sorry. All right. I'm trying to share my screen and it's giving me a little bearing problem. And just a moment. Technical difficulties. Okay, I'm gonna have to wing some stuff. Can you see my screen? Oh, wrong one. Okay, well, we'll do it this way. Just a moment, I'm sorry. Okay, we're gonna have to do it this way. All right, so my name is Lonnie May. I am the Director of Sustainability at UTSA. I hope you can see my screen if anybody can confirm.
We can.
Okay, great. So I had a little presentation and I'm having some difficulties, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about UTSA sustainability. My name is Lonnie May. I have been Director of Sustainability for 2 years. And it was a student initiative where the students lobbied our president, Amy, and asked for him to develop under UT Systems 169 rule, which is our sustainability practices for the University of Texas at System, to develop a green fee to fund sustainable projects. So the students were successful, but instead of him doing it through a fee base, the president allocated a little bit of tuition. So each student at UTSA pays about $5 a semester for sustainable projects. I just wanted to tell you a few of them. So of course in FY21, it's been a little bit difficult. We've all, been affected by COVID. It was a big year for a couple of different specific topics in sustainability, one being wellness and one being inclusion and diversity. So our efforts in inclusive excellence were a big part of UTSA sustainability this year. We do have a couple of projects I wanted to show you that are under our Project Cng Grant, which is the UTSA Roadrunner footprint. So that $5 that the university is given from every student per semester goes back towards students can request funding for sustainable projects. And so just some of that we've had before, one of them is undergraduate research. The Department of Environmental Science, one of the professors there, Jessica Beckham, came through and requested funding. She's had a 3-year program that we funded to allow students to do undergraduate research. And that's the type of project that we like to do for our sustainability goals and our sustainability funding. We're really trying to improve the ability for our students to graduate, improve their student experience, their ability to go on to increase their academic experience and go on to graduate school. So the undergraduates, as you know, are hardly given any funding. It's very unusual for them to be funded in a program. And so that this funding going towards them for these 3 years did allow them to go to conferences, allows them to have a stipend. It allows them to do research where they wouldn't otherwise have that experience before they go on to grad school. You get into grad school and you're like, I've never done research. I really don't know what I'm doing. And so this gave them that opportunity to already have written, to have presented at a conference. We did go to the ASHE last year and they presented their research there. Another one of the projects that we did was a student garden. They have been operating since 2016. They also participate with Gardentopia and have benefited from some of the different, Green Alliance places around San Antonio. This is an all student run garden. They plant every year except for last year because it was COVID in the fall. The Office of Sustainability funded their planting and we just had it done by a company because they weren't able to come on campus. But this is a great project that we're really proud of. Another project that we did just 2 years ago was the Tito Bradshaw Bicycle Repair Shop. Tito Bradshaw was a young man that owned a bike shop here in San Antonio, and he was tragically killed in a biking accident. He was hit by a driver, and he was an advocate for bicycling as well as advocate for the community in his area. So he would let people use his shop after hours to have events or just have community meetings, and he would do community rides to get people together in the neighborhood. And we wanted to implement a program that was doing something that really spoke to the advocacy of community. And so that's this was funded through that project. The trail that you see behind the Fix-It station was done through a community build. That was also funded through the Office of Sustainability. And then this green space, which previously was just dust, is now a rain garden that we put in a water quality feature. So it's been a nice improvement for the students to come. During COVID, they haven't had many events there, but that's what it's designed to do, to have events there. Another thing that we've funded is the Memorial Garden. This Memorial Garden was funded a couple of years back through the Green Fund, and it allows, our campus had grown around our existing flags. They were by the Sumbria, and they had been enclosed and kind of pushed off to the side. They weren't a focal point. And so this student president at that time got together and asked for funding. They did a fundraiser and we matched the fundraiser and we're able to build this memorial garden. And it's for fallen roadrunners. It's our Veterans Day area. It's a place right between the 2 bus stops, the shuttle bus stop and the VO bus stop. So it's an area where they can sit. The walls were designed to be able to be sitting areas. And it's a nice space. It's very treated and a good place to go to. Oh, sorry. Well, we've got our stars rating this year for the first time since 2014, and we were able to get a silver. And I know many of our campuses are much more sustainable than UTSA. We would like to try and get a gold. We do have some way to go, especially in our emissions rating and in our scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. But we definitely are very proud of getting the silver thus far. And I think that our diversity and our inclusive excellence, our Pride Center, our Multicultural Center, some of the housing operations things that we've done have really attributed to this stars rating. It wasn't from the Office of Sustainability. While we have done a lot of different projects, we have not really been as successful as just the day-to-day operations for different university departments. They've really pushed the envelope on being able to do sustainability within their operations. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. One of them is the VIA U-Pass, which allows all students at UTSA to ride the VIA bus anywhere in the city for free. Some of the other things that they have done in transportation have been rideshare and zip cars. They have pushed active transportation as well and ride to campus days. In their dining services, they've done quite a bit to try and reduce their carbon footprint. They've removed straws from the dining area. They also have the Earmark swipe card. I believe it was Trinity that was talking about that, so that you can give a dining swipe to another student. If you've got extra at the end of the semester, you can give them over. They have a to-go program so that you can participate and go in and get a reusable go container and take your lunch with you and then return it. So that's a good program. They have reduced portions control so that they can reduce food waste. They have recycling frying oil. They've done, Aramark has really done quite a bit, and so has the dining services. They have compostable dining, forks and knives and to-go containers where they can in the dining services and food courts. Another operational thing is through our student union. They have what's called the Roadrunner Pantry and the Whataburger Resource Room. The Whataburger Resource Room is downtown, and the Roadrunner Pantry is at the main campus. And so they are able to partner with a food bank and with HEB and also with Whataburger to provide the students food. So the Office of Sustainability, is part of one of our initiatives, came in. A student had asked for us to give them commercial refrigerators so that they could have milk with their cereal. And the way they put it was a wellness thing. They were saying, you know, I'm missing home and I feel weird about being at school. And one of the things I really miss about being at home is to just eat cereal with milk on Saturday mornings and watch cartoons. That's my decompression thing. And we can't do that because I get food at the Rewear Pantry and they don't have any produce. So we were able to fund 2 commercial refrigerators, one at each campus, a microwave, and some staff time for them to be able to operate a little bit there. And so they've been very fortunate to have these resources for the students. And in our operations, we have just a number of things, building initiatives to Energy Star replacements that have maintained, although we have increased our square feet up by a couple of million square feet since 2008. We have held steady in our electrical use. So as we've increased by just changing out building systems, we've been able to do that. We have 3 solar panel arrays that they have done on the buildings that were part of research. We have charging stations that Campus Services has put in. So a lot of things that the operational side surplus gives to the Veteran Affairs. They give it to the Southside Independent School District. We give any of our surplus, instead of it going to auction first, we donate that. And so they've been really, like I said, the departments have been doing so much in sustainability, grounds and green cleaning systems and that sort of thing. As far as the Office of Sustainability, we do a few grant writing opportunities. The most recent grant that we have had is the CMAQ grant. That's the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Grant. That has a $407,000 grant that allowed us to expand the Tito Bradshaw bicycle repair shop to a mobile bike shop. It has a component of electrification. So we're trying to teach the students about how the market is for electrification right now, how the distribution of charges is. And so we're just starting that off. We just bought this Tesla, which will function as our bicycle repair shop. And that's through a TechStop grant called CMAQ. It also funds some marketing for bikeability and active transportation. So there's a bike share project that will be part of this, where we're working with B-Cycle to provide last mile commute solutions. We will be putting the B-Cycle out in the commuter lots, which are about 3/4 of a mile away from the campus uphill. And students will be able to park and ride the bike in to where there's a B-Cycle station there. and then they can drop off their bike and go to class. This does a couple of things. It allows UTSA students just circle the campus looking for parking. They want to get as close as they possibly can because it's hot. So this will allow them to park and stop some of that congestion, stop some of that idling, and reduce some of our transportation emissions. The charging station for this car will also function for electrification for students, as well as for hopefully fleet conversion, which is a component of this grant. And then we will also have a bicycle program that gives 10 bikes by the students filling out a Google form showing their need, and that they continue to do some community service and take a bicycle safety class through the AMMPO. They would get a bike free for them for their use. And so this grant is kind of neat in that it has provided us all those opportunities. Last year, we got a City of San Antonio grant, $50,000 for trees, where they paid for administrative costs, they paid for irrigation, they paid for actually the trees. We were supposed to put in 45 trees, and we were able to stretch that to 85 trees. And that was just because UTSA allowed their grounds team to get in there and help us out with labor and time. So we were able to really basically double the amount of trees that we got that improved shade canopy and walkability around the campus. This is another grant. We have a couple of other grants. We have a Cng grant that improved our Cng station to improve fleet use of alternative fuels. This grant is a COSA grant that was for the Edwards Aquifer, the 1/8% sales tax through City of San Antonio. This was a 13-acre watershed with 9.57 acres of impervious cover that is from original campus construction, and it was retrofitted to be treated with this bioswale. So you can see after the snow event, we did lose, we didn't lose it. A lot of it went dormant. We lost all of our succulents, but everything else pretty much came back. We lost all of our sage, but the grasses all survived. They're coming back, and our Turk's cap is coming back in. That's a big part of the planting. Our frog fruit made it through in the bottom of the swale, so all of that was really great. So this is a treatment train. It does have cisterns attached with the rain garden downstream. You can see kind of in the distance there. And then it also has this bioswale and a grassy channel as well. So these were all things that we put together for grant purposes. And funny story, this grant came about because the football coach at the time said, I want better landscaping around my building. It's an older building and I just can't recruit with that. And so I would like better landscaping. And at the time I was in the Office of Planning, and the university architect said, well, what can we do for landscape? And I told him, we've looked at that problem for years, multiple times, and it's too expensive, so they don't want to pay for taking irrigation and doing, even if it's xeriscaping, is still going to need to get established. It's too expensive, but there's a grant for that. And so he goes, okay, we'll go ahead and pursue that grant. And this is the coach didn't make it. It was Coach Wilson, but the grant did. And so we were able to treat a 13-acre watershed with this grant. So that's very nice. So that is all I have today. I hope I was in my time, and thank you for allowing me to share what we've done at UTSA. And I really appreciate all the students that are here today, because that's really, it says something about your program at your school that you guys are so involved that you'll take your time out to do this presentation. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Lonnie. And you have quite a number of questions in the chat. I'm not sure if we'll have time to address them all, but maybe we could tackle a few of them. There's a question from Sharon. Is your Eco2Go program functioning during COVID precautions?
Yes, it is, because they are still they do composting as well as doing the Eco2Go. Yes, Eco2Go. So most of what we're operating in our dining services now is just for students that are on campus, and the only students we have is housing. And we do have to continue to feed them. So
great. There's another one. Lonnie, is the composting university provided, or is it done exclusively by Aramark?
So I'm glad someone asked this question, but we don't have composting at UTSA. And every year we have students that ask for composting. What's difficult for us at UTSA is that we're over the Edwards Aquifer. So we're not allowed to have bacteria or to contribute to any kind of degradation of the aquifer over the recharge zone. So it's hard to explain to students, well, you have to contain it and it has to have free boarding and it's got, so we've asked them to just consider a small compost queen type things. And we've engaged Aramark, which is why I was talking to Diane, I believe. That's why I had the contact for Aramark, and I wanted them to present for this. We're asking them to participate, and so we don't have a composting at all at UTSA. And I would love to talk to you guys that are doing that so I can find out more about it.
Thank you. And there's one more question as well. It's from Diane. Lonnie, are you locating all these grants, or do you have a team working with you in identifying these grants? Yes, you sound like a grant superhero, so we're wondering where you got your cape.
No, I don't. I don't have anybody to help me. It's a lot. In the Office of Facilities, when I was in facilities, they were like, yeah, go for a grant. That's great. And so that I had the time, but now that I'm in school and I took the job as director, it's been kind of tough to really manage those. And so no, the bioswale one, I did go to Dr. Bush. I went to the when I did the bioswale one, they said, we love it, but we want it to be more science-based. And so I said, well, I'm in facilities. I don't do science. I don't do water quality monitoring. And so I went to Dr. Bush in environmental science, and she was like, I can't help you. That's going to be a big grant. I can't help you. And I was like, oh, well, they already approved it. It's $1 million grant. They already approved it. She was like, what? Yeah, I'll take that. And she was able to turn around in 5 days, rewrite the science and do all that stuff. And then I entered school, so I ended up doing the sampling anyway. So that's actually my PhD program. The other grants are really not that tough. I think I fail in comparison to Alamo colleges. That I'd really like to get some more information on their program. But the other ones were like CMAC. It was a good program, and I think they really liked it. And so those were okay. The TCQ ones are not hard to do. When you're in non-attainment, their way of answering it, I believe, is just to throw money at it. And so that's a negative way to put it, but it makes it easier to get that money.
And there's a question that's sort of a follow-up. Are these grants for public institutions, or might they also be available to private institutions? And I should also ask faith-based institutions.
Oh no, they don't. The CMAC grant was for non-attainment, so it was an air quality grant. And so if you've got congestion, and the CMAC grant just closed. It's every 3 years, I think, every 3 years. It just closed on April 1st. But that one had $360 million in it. And so they had a lot of money. So city, VIA, and TxDOT go over those, and they really kind of divide the money between themselves. So I just kept my money small. I'm not asking for 60 million. I'm asking for 400,000. And they were like, let's throw them a bone. So, we'll share is kind of the attitude they gave me. And so I was really excited about that. And so they're open anyway. TCQ is going to open a level 1 charger, level 3 charger. I forget when that one's coming up in the summer for the VW funds. And then there's also a grant. I would be interested to really, again, talk about the USDA grants that Alamo colleges got, but there is a grant that someone just told me about for electric buses, and it's open right now, and they will give you up to $250,000 for the difference between, if you're going to buy a regular bus and you're going to pay $150,000, they'll give you another up to $250,000 if you'll do electric, and they'll pay for the charging station. I just found that out today and had that very uncomfortable conversation with our director of transportation. Hey, would you buy an electric bus? That kind of thing.
Great answers. Thank you so much for sharing those perspectives. So are there other questions from the group? We only have about 4 minutes left in this session, and I know then we have a 1 hour break, or at least I have a 1 hour break before the next session. So I want to make sure that we end on time. But are there any last minute questions for any of the presenters today?
I want to ask about composting. If somebody would reach out to me, I forgot what student was doing the composting queens. I'd like to know about that. And
that's great, Lonnie. It's actually at UIW that we have a couple of faculty members who for some time have been really dedicated to composting, and they've adopted the sort of Bokashi model. We have an English professor, because that's how sustainability works, right? It's got to be somebody who's volunteering their time and effort. But this guy, Ben Mealy, he's been working really intently over the last few years to make sure this system can get up and running. At various points, Sodexo was giving him all of their cuttings from all of their vegetable scraps and such from the cafeteria. Then COVID hit. So anyway, there's a whole story there, but I could definitely put you in touch with him.
Yeah, that's
what I wanted. This session right now.
Oh, is Ben here?
Yeah, I see his picture way down at the bottom.
Yeah, if I could connect with you, Ben, if you can hear me, what I want to know is, like, do you regulate it's only post-consumer, I mean pre-consumer food, or is it post-consumer too? Are you letting just any student participate? He has no video. Yes. Yeah. I could get your contact. That would be great.
Yeah, we'll make sure that you're all in touch.
Your mind is
pre and post consumer. You can see that probably, Lonnie. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
This all has given me a lot of hope. Thank you, people, so much.
I'm going to throw out one thing that PAC's doing is looking into is an outdoor classrooms, which I know y'all pretty much have already, but there are some very cool picnic tables that have solar charging on the top. You can probably Google and find them. But if anybody's interested in that, and that's one of the things that we shared, and we're hoping that to get some of those at our campus.
That's excellent. I remember a student presentation from Trinity a few years ago about that very thing. It was a very forward-looking kind of project at that point. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear from so many students tonight. Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing what's going on your campus. As I said at the beginning of this session, this is where EcoExchangeEdu started. Representatives from various higher ed institutions got together and we just talked about what was going on at our various campuses. And it was exciting and it was encouraging, because when you know that other people are doing it at other campuses, you know you're not alone. So thank you all for doing the good work and fighting the good fight. And if you care to, come and hang out and listen to some sustainability in the arts at 7:30 tonight. And otherwise, I do hope that you'll attend some of the sessions tomorrow. There's some really wonderful ones, including our premier showcase event at 6 o'clock, and also our second keynote at 3:30. Some other wonderful things too, but check out the schedule. Okay, thank you everybody. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you soon. Bye.